Hello there, my dear loving souls. Welcome to this channel and welcome to the subject matter today on time. Now it's going to be an interesting video series, I think, because I'm going to do the video series slightly different because that's how I feel I should be doing it today. The topic itself has really been led by spirit over the last couple of days. I would say even a week or so. I've been particularly drawn to the subject of time and a very specific thing about it, which I'm going to mention shortly, but which means that the way I go about today's video series is slightly different. Now, as always, there will be part one where I will talk about the facts a bit more as well as the universal laws. There'll be part two where we apply the universal laws and talk about some practical tips. And part three will be us receiving more messages from the spirit world, our angels and ancestors and everyone else, all other beings who might want to be with us here today to talk about time. However, for this part, I don't really have anything to say or a lot to say. There are a couple of things that I need to say or I feel like I need to say, but otherwise a lot of the messages will actually be kind of free-flowing based on the cards that come up here, especially during part one and part two as well, not just part three. So without further ado, just make sure as always you grab a cup of tea, a cup of coffee or any other beverage. I've got water here with me, and we will kick off with part one. And I've got a beautiful hourglass as well that I'm going to turn, and it's a very lovely representation of time here for us, folks. Here we go. So, as I mentioned, and I'm going to just shuffle these cards sort of as I speak and see what falls out to see if you know, there's a message that will come through to us on this topic. But I caught myself thinking the other day a specific thing about time, okay? I have mentioned before, and maybe this is the first universal law that I really need to mention, which is, strictly speaking, there is no such thing as time. It's a human construct created by the society on planet Earth in order to structure our lives a little bit better, right? As a society, as a community, we need to be able to organize ourselves. And now that's very suitable for our brain because our brain likes order, it likes logic, it likes, you know, files in categories, and, you know, that's how it sort of sorts its information and, you know, helps us through our lifetime. And so time is a construct. It's a human kind of construct. We ended up measuring something that, strictly speaking, in the universe doesn't exist, but on planet Earth, I guess it is a phenomenon. Just given the fact that, yeah, I mean, we know that in each day there's, you know, roughly 24 hours, plus or minus, and then there's some kind of debate about it. And obviously there's certain number of days, given how planet Earth revolves around the sun, which makes up the full year and whatnot. So I think people are generally pretty comfortable, understand what I mean by when I talk about time. But in the universe, there is, strictly speaking, no such thing as time because everything is happening now. And it is true, as I kind of keep repeating myself, that you don't live in the past and you don't live in the future. You have, at this point in time, you might have a recollection about a past, something that has happened in the past, but that's a memory. Likewise, you might foresee some things, you may have certain visions about the future, you may have some thoughts, prospects about the future as visuals, but you're not actually planting yourself and putting yourself in the future, right? Unless you've got a time machine. So please do let us know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you if you are a time traveler. But yeah, the whole point is that you don't live in the past. You have a memory of it, and likewise, you don't live in the future. You know, you may be thinking about it or visualizing things about the future. But the truth is, you're always living in the now, in the present, in the now. Now, but the one thing that kept coming up quite strongly for me over the last weekend a bit, and apologies for that noise outside, and it's now I'll try and phrase it as follows: is that time is a resource, it's kind of like a tool that we get to use on planet Earth. And the interesting thing about the tool of time is that it's an equalizer. That's what I kept getting, the word equalizer. Equalizer amongst humans. There's so many days, so many hours, sorry, so many minutes, so many seconds that a person gets in one day, as an example. And there's actually beauty in that it's an equalizer. It's an equalizer. You cannot get a second more, you can't get a second less, kind of thing. Everyone gets exactly the same amount. And that's the equalizer, and that's what I kept getting. You know, perhaps thoughts such as, you know, human beings have to, given this equalizer, it's up to you as an individual to make the choices that you do each day in order to see what you do with that time, what you do with that equal kind of resource, equal tool. And that's what I just kept getting. Equalizer, equalizer, equalizer. Time is an equalizer. So, I don't know, for some of you, that might resonate with you, some it might not. You might get other thoughts and comments as I'm sort of explaining something that I received and something that I was obviously called to talk about. Concept of time as an equalizer. So let's have a look at what else came. So we have the couple of cards that came through here. 3 of Cups, 6 of Pentacles, 4 of Wands, 2 of Wands, and 8 of Pentacles. Now, interestingly, the thing I'm drawn to say instantly is that we've got we are missing swords, and swords are the intellect, the mind, which is quite interesting, right? Because I mentioned time is actually like a human construct. It's something that our brain likes to do, but that's all right. The whole point of this is that we've got, we do have enough pentacles, 6 and 8 of Pentacles, which is the earthly realm, and it's a representation of earth. And material things, and obviously, as I mentioned, time is one of those. But more importantly, we've got getting a strong pull towards the 4 of Wands card, which is a victory, a celebration, but particularly like the number 4, which is stability. It's stability of home, stability of your structure, stability of particular object or concept or something in that might be like solid. You know, if the table has 4 legs, a chair has 4 legs as well, you know, just to create that stability. But that's what I'm wondering, whether that's why time, you know, time is a bit of like it's a structure, it's a stable structure that has, I guess, has been tested and it works. So, you know, humanity uses to its advantage, obviously, to organize things, to organize the community, to organize how things are done, to be able to communicate with one another and have some kind of reference of point. Now, the other thing about the 4 of Wands that I'm getting is the usual, the portal of 1111, because the way the wands are depicted on the image, and a part of me thinks it's like a portal. Maybe time is a bit of a portal, right? You can, I guess, in your mind, you can go, you can reflect on memories from the past, or you can try and see or visualize or foresee what might happen in the future. And there is a bit of a portal aspect to it, as in perhaps, even though everything is in now, like the body, the physical body, and our spiritual body aligned together, it might allow us to actually activate and go into other portals and use time portals to our advantage for a variety of reasons. Anything else? 4 seasons. I keep getting four seasons. Obviously, time, like a pattern or a cycle. When on planet Earth, 2 of Wands is like an observation card. So observing your world, observation. I keep observing. So maybe, you know, part of the reason is like we're human beings we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and the concept of time on planet Earth. Now, when you're looking at that planet, and that's what the 2 of Wands individual has got the world in his hand, is kind of observing the world, or maybe that the concept of time is here by design. So I'm very sorry about that, folks. Something happened to my camera and it didn't record the last 10 minutes of what I was actually doing. And part of what I was doing was going through these cards, and I also shuffled the last card, which I really felt like being placed here, and then card number 11 of the major arcana has come through, which is justice. So what I will do now is I will reflect back on some of the messages that I've been receiving based on these cards. And so we were talking about the Two of Wands, and in the image we've got the person holding the world in front of him, and I was effectively saying that it's as if coming and incarnating into this lifetime on planet Earth, we have chosen to do so by design in order to be able to observe the world and observe the full experience of having a lifetime, which by design effectively means that there needs to be the concept of time, right? So within the design of being able to observe lifetimes after lifetime, you know, different technology that is available for a particular, you know, civilization, different experiences in terms of culture and language, and, you know, some restrictions, limitations, or conversely some breakthroughs in a variety of spheres of our life, right? All of that kind of requires the concept of time to be embedded by design. So I wonder if that's part of the reason for the Two of Wands here and the necessity of time. So the other one I wanted to mention was the Six of Pentacles, where we've got an image of a person standing here, and from one perspective he's handing out coins to the two individuals below him, and in another hand he's got the balance in his hand. And I do think that this card represents what I mentioned before about the equalizer, that time is individuals' equalizer. There's, we know we get 24 hours or so in a day, right? And it's up to us to see what we do with it. And so with that, it's a balancer, it's an equalizer. And the beauty of that is that we also had the Justice come up here, and the Justice also has, in one hand she's got the sword, and the other hand she's got the balance. And if I jump straight into the Justice card, what I was wanting to mention here is she's got a sword in her hand, which is, for the first time here, we've got one sword come through, which is all about their mental element, the intelligence, as well as communication, you know, words. And in another hand, she's got the balance. So there's out of these 6 cards, we have 2 cards that have the concept of balance in them, or equalizer. And so through the energy of giving and receiving, as well as the energy of ability to think, ability to exercise your freedom of choice, perhaps it's timely to exercise that intelligence in order and to get a little bit more balance in your life as to how you feel, what you do, what you think throughout each day. So if you find yourself in a situation where you feel like you don't have enough time in each day or each week, because we've become way too busy sometimes, and it's become a race about how many things you can tick off your to-do list, then perhaps it's time to actually get into this energy of, right, well, I'm going to think and I'm going to reevaluate, and I'm going to really think about what is it that I'm going to do in order to create more balance in my life when it comes to time. You know, how are you going to do that? Well, this channel is all about practicing love, right? And this is, if I jump straight into the Three of Cups and the Four of Wands, both of these cards are very strong in terms of the message of a group setting, a family setting, work colleagues perhaps, or some kind of group, various individuals coming together. Why? In order to have a lovely celebration, in order to experience love, joy, and togetherness, and having fun, and just being really recognized for something. So it could be a home setting or a work setting, as I mentioned before. But going back to this Justice card as well, Justice is the astrological zodiac sign behind, you know, representing with the card of Justice as Libra, which is people born at the end of September and sort of most of October. And the 7th house is all about relationships and partnerships. duality of things, seeing each other's side of the story, so to speak, in order to create balance and harmony and understanding. And so when I was thinking about this, it's like, well, perhaps we are here experiencing, have come to experience planet Earth, which by design has the concept of time and obviously lifetimes, and in each lifetime you get to do something or to experience something, think and speak and do and whatever it is that you want to do. But fundamentally it's all about experiencing life to the fullest and experiencing love on planet Earth with the people you love around you, or people you feel happy with, people you feel like you can celebrate things together, you can celebrate life together, you can celebrate goals and achievements and, you know, various accomplishments together. And so part of the reason I'm really drawn to say or speak about, I think, that common phrase that people have, which is, you know, I don't have enough time to do X, Y, Z. Well, perhaps it's time to actually reevaluate what you do on a daily basis, or what takes up your time, and, you know, being full and frank with yourself about what you go about doing, you know, from morning till night every day. What does that look like on a weekly basis? What does that look like on a monthly basis? And start exercising some love in your own life, practicing love in your own life through the Holy Trinity of love, perhaps, that we speak of on this channel, which is thinking love, speaking love, and doing love towards yourself. And I think freeing up some of your time is actually being kind and giving to yourself. And likewise, it may actually enable you to, as a result of it, spend some more time in group settings and bring you joy and happiness with your soul tribe, as an example. Having celebrations, getting together, speaking love, talking about topics that are bringing you lots of joy, that come from your heart. There might be passion projects that you want to get involved in, or that you have been doing for all your life, or something you've been thinking about doing but you just haven't seem to have gotten the time for it. Or maybe this is your clue or confirmation or reminder that, or a nudge, you know, maybe it's time to really use the sword wisely, use your mind to your advantage, you know, use their wisdom to cut things that are no longer serving your highest good in terms of your week-to-week or day-to-day activities or thoughts or things you say, perhaps, or some habits you might have that are taking away, that are kind of sucking the time away from your life. You know, example is, you know, social media. It can really suck you in, and boom, 30 minutes have gone, an hour has gone, or sometimes, you know, even on YouTube you can really get sucked into it, and then boom, time just disappears. And so using your mind, using that sword wisely to cut those sorts of attachments or habits or things that are no longer healthy for you, and you know in your heart what that is for you, and instead replace it with something that does make you feel joyous and like you have harmony and peace within a group setting, as an example, within a family, within a workplace, within your community. And the reason I'm drawn to say love, peace, and harmony in particular is the numbers 3 and 6 in particular that came through one after another, the 3 of Cups and the 6 of Pentacles. 3s and 6 are your, you know, 6 obviously is a double of 3. It's all about that harmony. And you have to have internal harmony, internal peace by practicing love to yourself, as well as external peace with others, with other individuals, with other connections in your life. Hopefully having a lovely time together as you move through this lifetime. And for some of you, that lifetime might be shorter than for others, but it's the quality of your lifetime that matters most, right? Hopefully you have more of these sort of three of Cups and 4 of Wands sort of moments where you do have joyous celebrations. There's love, there's recognition, acknowledgement, parties, fun, and just ultimately love. The last thing I wanted to mention about was also number 11. So major arcana justice is 11, and that resonates quite well, I think, with the 11-11 point that I mentioned earlier on about 4 of Wands, just because of the way the 4 of Wands is placed in the imagery. And I mentioned it might feel like a bit of a time portal. So I think, you know, number 11, the muster, number 11 is actually quite important, because, you know, maybe it's all about mastering the time or management of your time, doing something that is actually in alignment, that causes you balance, causes you harmony, using your time for your own benefit rather than your own detriment. And yeah, maybe this is what Eight of Pentacles is trying to say. It's easier said than done, and it will require hard work, and I truly appreciate it. I have had seasons of my life where I felt like I had no time, and I felt like I could do nothing about it, like there was no, as if it was outside of my own control, or these were not my choices to make, that I had so many things on my to-do list to complete, and as a result of it, I didn't have much time on my hands. And then I thankfully changed my perception, I guess, about time, and the fact that I do have some control. Ultimately, I do have the freedom of choice to live my life the way I want to live it, and if that means really reviewing what I think, what I say, what I do day to day, week to week, how what things I invest into in terms of my time, you know, where am I exerting my energy, where is my time going, reflecting on all those things, and it will actually result in some goodness, because you will be well aware as to your own habits and what you do, first of all, but then it also allows you, or allowed me anyway, to use that sword wisely, use my intelligence, use my brain, use the sword in my hand to cut some attachments to objects, to circumstances, to subjects, to connections, or whatever it is that I needed to sort of remove from my life, and replace it with other things perhaps that do bring me more love, more joy, more time with my family, more time with my, you know, lovely friends and great connections, and as a result of that, bring you more joy, and having a better experience going through your lifetime on planet Earth. Easier said than done. Of course, it will require hard work, but it is paid work. Like, you know, Eight of Pentacles for me is the concept of hard work always pays off. Well, I agree in this situation, what I've just described. Well, if you put in the hard work to try and sort yourself out in terms of where your energy goes and where your time goes, then it will pay off in the long run, as in if you take certain steps to go from your current position and into the ideal position, whatever the ideal may be for you, then it will hopefully pay off. You know, your hard work of doing the thinking, the removing, the replacing, the considering will pay off and lead you to an outcome of your lifetime that is more life fulfilling, more filled with feelings of joy and happiness, more practicing love, a bit, you know, community, your family's happy, and all those high frequency emotions and just pleasant moments. Yeah, anything else? Yeah, it's yeah, I think that's all that I wanted to mention, but yeah, for this part one, I'm sure we will get back to these sort of concepts in part two, so stick around, click on the link for part two. We'll talk about some practical tips and application of some of the things that have come through, and I'll see you there shortly. Click on part two.